Everything that happened last year wasn't a great way to start a new decade pretty much for anybody, especially if you are a filmmaker or you love movies. There really isn't anything as of right now that I want to talk about, so I thought I would like to share my 10 favorite movies of last year. Now, a few quick things before I start this list. One, all of these movies, except for one movie, are on a streaming service. So you basically really don't have to pay $20 or $6, anything for any of that. You can just sign up for a free trial if you don't have this streaming service, and then you can watch the movie. Another thing is, this is just my preference. This isn't what I think are the best movies or anything like that. It's not objective. It's just my preference, my own taste. Another thing, I'm not gonna do like my 10 least favorite movies of 2020, but I will say my least favorite movie was Christmas on the Square. It's on Netflix. It's produced by Dolly Parton. She's in it. It's definitely an interesting Old Navy commercial Christmas movie. All right, last thing, before I officially start this list, I would like to give some honorable mentions that, may not have made the list, but I would still recommend them if you're just looking for something to watch. There's Hamilton, Promising Young Woman, On the Record, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom, and I'm Thinking of Ending Things. So check those out if you want to, but if you just want to see what my 10 favorite movies are, well, here you go. We're going to start with number 10, and that is Mangrove. This is the first movie of 5, directed by Steve McQueen on Amazon. It's part of an anthology series called Small Axe, and it tells us the story of a black business owner who gets constantly raided and bombarded by England police, which leads to protest. Some of these protesters get arrested, and they become part of a trial called the Mangrove 9. McQueen is a master of storytelling. He conveys a detailed message in movie about what it means to challenge those who were oppressed by those who view it. McQueen's vision is outstanding to watch just by what he's doing outside of the courtroom and in the courtroom. Next, my number 9 movie on this list is One Night in Miami. The film is based on a play written by Kemp Powers, and it was directed by Regina King. This is her directorial debut. It's a fictional story where Muhammad Ali, Malcolm X, Sam Cooke, and Jim Brown are gathered in a motel room, and they discuss their roles during the civil rights era. I tend to enjoy movies like this where it's very dialogue heavy. It's based on a play. It's one of those movies where the acting and the dialogue, they have to be compelling. It's probably one of the more important aspects of a movie like this. And the dynamics between these four are able to draw you in. The entire conversation is interesting to listen to and to watch. It never gets boring, whether it's a conversation between 4 people or just 2 of them. This is one of those conversations where it focuses on good morals and then it shifts into something else. One minute I'm agreeing with one character as they roast another, and then they decide to one-up themselves, and then I'm like, oh wait, that's a good point too. Number 8 is going to be a documentary called Time. In this film, we see Fox Rich fight for her husband Rob, who's serving 60 years in prison. The director, Garrett Bradley, shows how stressful this entire situation is, even if it's like a mundane moment. It's really beautiful to look at. The cinematography is better than a whole lot of other documentaries I've seen before. The black and white cinematography helps bring these people out. It focuses on them a little bit more. It's not just about what's going on around them. Throughout the movie, we see a lot of Fox Rich's home videotapes that shows her kids growing up. It's beautiful to watch. It's intimate, and it adds a new layer to the family dynamic and their situation. The piano music used in this movie is beautiful. It's not technically a score, but I would definitely recommend you check it out. The movie starts off as this intimate family story, but then it becomes so much more than that. Fox makes a lot of great points in the movie, how the system will do anything to make sure that the budget for prisons is not lowered, but they will do it for anything else. It's stuff like that, and watching Fox's frustration that is just sad to watch, but it's empowering at the same time. It shows how love conquers all. Alright, so the next film I'm going to talk about is my number 7, which is Da 5 Bloods. Spike Lee has made another great film. It pays homage to a bunch of classic war films, but it shows more to how the war oppressed a lot of the black community. Lee makes sure he shows how that community was never applauded for their work in the war. He's trying to change the conversation of relevancy for black veterans. It's something I don't see that often in movies. Part of that conversation should also be about Delroy Lindo getting that Oscar nomination. Who knows if that'll happen? I really hope he does. Fingers crossed. It's interesting to see how Lee sprinkles in, archive footage and Black history into the movie. It adds weight to a bunch of the characters and the lines and the dialogue in the movie. This was also Boseman's last movie before he passed away. It certainly changed how I viewed the movie, especially his last scene. It's heavy, it's quite devastating. I wouldn't be shocked if he got an Oscar too. Now on to number 6, which is Minari. Now, this is the only movie that is not on a streaming service yet. I'm sure in probably 45 days or something, it will be on Amazon or something like that, hopefully. Minari tells us the story of this Korean family who moved from California, and they moved to central Arkansas to start a farm. This is one of the most tender and sentimental films I saw last year. Emil Masri's score was one of the best scores I heard last year. It's ambient, it feels grand at times for a film that is very small. The score and the cinematography make it very dreamlike, and that kind of fits this concept, this theme that the movie's going for of childlike wonder. Now, Steven Yeun is in this movie. He always brings his A game, and he brought it again in this movie. All right, on to number 5, which is The Vast of Night. If you're a fan of sci-fi, I would greatly recommend this film for you. Imagine this as like a mixture of Twilight Zone and Encounters of the Close Mind. I don't know how they really got to do a lot of this with such a small budget. The entire set work and production is so immaculate. There are quite a few of one takes and tracking shots that are really extraordinary to see. The dialogue is snappy and quick-paced. The 2 lead actors, Sierra McCormick and Jake Horowitz, are really great together. They have this great chemistry going on and this quick back and forth that I really enjoy. It's a great story that shows the power of media and the power of myth. It's intense and it's a thrill to watch. All right, we're getting close. So, number 4 is Sound of Metal. In this quiet drama, Riz Ahmed plays a heavy metal drummer who loses his hearing. We see him join this deaf community, and the film becomes quite informative. It shows us the process of accepting this change, but it never holds back on showing the real struggles of this. The entire movie relies on great sound design. We go back and forth from Ahmed's viewpoint to ours seamlessly to let us understand his problems. Riz Ahmed is quite exceptional in this movie too. His drum skills are great, his sign language is exceptional, but that fits what his character is going through, and he does a really great job on evoking emotions through spoken and sign language. It can be really impactful for musicians or anybody that is going through this. I would definitely check it out. Number 3 is a documentary on Apple called Boys State. This is without a doubt one of the most fascinating movies that I've seen in a long time, and I'm not kidding about that. This documentary shows us a week-long summer camp held for high school boys that must form together to build a government. If you want to see a movie about a bunch of boys thinking and acting like politicians, well, this is for you. It's really entertaining to watch. It's a little eerie as well because it makes you wonder, well, are the kids acting like politicians or are politicians acting like kids? It's probably both though. It's structured almost like a reality show where our 4 main kids that the movie focuses on, they have these confessions, they talk to the camera, they just say what's on their mind, and every single one of them is amazing to watch. You might root for one kid, you might hate another kid, they're just playing along with the game. It's really interesting. It's a wild experiment to see how these kids work. It might make you hate kids more, and I don't blame you. These kids definitely have some of their rowdy moments, but they also have a lot of bonding moments that are like, wow, that's definitely a moment they'll never forget. They have these camps throughout the entire United States. There's also a girls' state. I really hope the directors would return to another one, or at least do girls' state. I think that would just be maybe even more interesting to see. Who knows? If you don't have an Apple Plus account, I seriously and highly recommend you just sign up, do your 7-week trial, and watch this movie. The only downside is I don't know if this is going to get a physical release, so if I do want to watch it again, I am going to have to sign up again for an Apple Watch TV Plus thing. and I don't want to do that. All right, on to number 2. And my second favorite movie I saw last year is Soul. I won't say a whole lot on Soul because I just did a video about this, but after rewatching it again, it's just great and it's surprisingly deep for a Pixar movie. The colors overflow the screen and the characters are rich and the sceneries are imaginative and original. It teaches us that happiness is surrounding us if we're just willing to look for it. It's a marvelous ode to life. It just never ceases to amaze me how Pixar can do these movies and give kids an existential idea of life. So, the moment we've been waiting for, my favorite movie of 2020 is Palm Springs. Andy Samberg and Kristen Milioti are in this Groundhog Day situation where they wake up every day to relive a wedding held in Palm Springs. It's full of familiarity, but it puts a nice spin on it to make it feel refreshing, and it makes it a fun journey for these two. The comedy is well crafted that fits the Lonely Island humor that doesn't go too overboard. The timing is right between Samberg's delivery and same for Milioti's, and the writing and editing is just spot on for good humor. Plus, there's still genuine romance and drama in this wacky premise. Samberg gets to do a lot more in this role too. It's not just funny voices, he gets to actually have some serious dramatic moments. J.K. Simmons is in this movie as well, and he is once again just perfectly casted. Milioti just steals the scene as she usually does also. She's a lot of fun to watch, but she's really great at those dramatic moments. It's one of those movies that captures the pandemic situation pretty well, where it just feels like we're living the same day over and over and over again. But the movie shows us where our existence may feel meaningless at times, and we're desperate to find someone or something to make it feel a little less mundane. That seems a little deep for that type of movie, but it's a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it yet, I definitely recommend it. I'm sure you'll get a good laugh at it. All right, well, thank you so much for watching this. Please let me know what your favorite movie was last year or your least favorite movie. Was there something that I didn't mention on the list? I do have a ranking of all the movies I saw last year below. So if you are curious where I put movie whatever, you could probably find it down below. Thank you so much for watching this. If you like what you see, just comment, subscribe, like, share, do all of that. It really means a lot to me. So cool. Let me know what I should review next. Exercise every day, stay indoors, drink your milk, and have a great day. I'll see you later.